Hi, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. Whatever you're doing, you better sit down and look at this show. I have two very important guests here. Leading off with Dr. Witzel Witten, and he's one of those evolutionary elders, so you better watch out. He got some good news. We're going to talk about the relationship of the black athletes and the pro ranks and what they should be doing. And right now, you know, the basketball guys are having problems with money. Welcome to the Ed Brown Show, Dr. Wood.
Well, thanks again, Mr. Brown. Always a joy to be on your show. And today's topic, like all of your other topics, it's a hard-hitting topic.
Right. Money always.
Always, yes.
You know, and the system, the way the system goes, look like the guy that does all the work get the less money.
That's true. Yeah.
He makes money for the other guy.
That is certainly correct.
So how do you figure that the young men should start out preparing themselves for this future in pro athletics?
Well, I think it starts in elementary and junior high school, because our athletes, those who have superior talent to the rest of the students, they're taken away from us. And that's the biggest mistake and the first mistake. And once they're taken away from us, as I've said before, that sports is a kid's game and white men turn it into a business. Mm-hmm. And what our athletes must understand, that they are as much a part of that business as the people who control it.
Right.
And now that we've been playing in major sports on the collegiate level as well as in the pro ranks, we've been there long enough now to control what we do. As I say, anything that you dominate, you should regulate.
Right.
We're the only people that dominate something and allow other people to regulate it. Mm-hmm. It's just, can you imagine Chinese people allowing anybody else to control rice? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
And nobody expects it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because if white kids could play ball as well as our kids play ball, we wouldn't even be in the leagues. Mm-hmm. They control it as it is, and we still dominate it. Mm-hmm. So I think black athletes, as you spoke about the NBA, and I think the NBA players are being punished now because LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh decided that they were going to leave the white man's plantation, especially LeBron James and Bosh, and decide to play with each other rather than a white man deciding where they play. Mm-hmm. And when you cross that line, white people look at you like, you know, you're stepping out of your bounds. You're an entertainer. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, if you are the entertainer, then you should control the entertainment. Mm-hmm. And then I think when our parents and our educators, I think we need to stay with our youth while they're still young enough and teach them that they have a responsibility other than just playing ball. Mm-hmm. You know, when I see pro athletes acting like children, you know, wearing gold around their necks and doing a whole bunch of crazy things instead of investing in a gold mines in South Africa. I mean, if you're going to do something like that, have some balance in your life, because it's a business, and there's a short window. Because if you get hurt, the window is even shorter.
Oh yes.
So
what have you done for me lately?
Well, that's the way that business operates.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that even what's happening now at Penn State, you know, when I look at Penn State from a black perspective, because probably the majority of those football players at Penn State who've caused their program to soar to where it is, are black athletes. Mm-hmm. These are the players. They are the straw that stirs that drink. Mm-hmm. But the white people control it. Mm-hmm. So at some point, we need to be, as Reggie Jackson said when he joined the Yankees. He said, you know, they didn't care for him that much, but he said, I'm the straw that stirs this drink. Mm-hmm. So when you realize what your value is, you have to deal with that. Every other culture, they acknowledge and understand what their value is. And we're the only people that seem to be satisfied with somebody else determining how much money we make, where we're going to play. You know, we're bought, sold, and traded all the time. Mm-hmm. White men sit down over cocktails and decide where the next Negro is going to go. Mm-hmm. I like this Negro. Let him come to my sports plantation. Mm-hmm. So, and our young athletes, they don't know the Muhammad Ali's, the Kurt Floods, the Bill Russells. They need to know the Jackie Robinson. They need to know the pioneering black athletes, and then they would have a sense of intelligence about how to interact with white men who control these teams. You know, if they would read, you know, Jim Brown's autobiography, how he dealt with Paul Brown, who owned the Cleveland Browns at that time. You know, it's the history about athletics as it relates to black people that we don't know. I mean, we walk around wearing uniforms and sports apparel like we walking billboards. Like you got stock in Nike. We don't have any stock in Nike. Maybe the only person that does would be Michael Jordan. You know, so we have a lot to learn in sports education.
So how do you think the evolutionary elders can really help in this problem?
Well, actually, many years ago, when I met Dr. Williams, as you know, who was my evolutionary elder walk partner, he was assistant principal at Dunbar High School in D.C. And he made it possible for me to come into the schools and talk to the athletes, and that's something that I'm about to do again. I'm establishing.
You're traveling around.
Yes, sir.
I think you're just here for a few months and you'll be gone again, right?
Yeah, well, I just need to be wherever, you know, I can be of service, you know, and right now it appears that I'm going to be here. I've been here through a flood, an earthquake, a hurricane. I'm going like, and snow. So maybe this is where I need to be for the time being.
Right. Well, what do you think about really educating the parents along this line?
That's a very important.
Because it seems, you know, that a child is raised in a certain environment, and if the parent is aware of the things that you're talking about, that should begin early in the life of the athlete.
I agree with that 100% plus. And that is certainly a part of what I do, and as Dr. Williams and I talk about, not only in sports, but just in school,
yes,
as well as in sports, because a lot of our parents and our parents they're getting younger and younger, and when they have talented athletes in the family, they begin to live through their children.
Right.
And that's a big mistake, and because those children begin to be treated, you know, special. And that's not to say that their athletic talents, you know, aren't special, but they need to be grounded and balanced. And a lot of times the parents, there's a lot of black men and women for that matter who were good themselves in sports but never made it to that next level. So now that they have children, they push their children, and it's okay to do that, but the balance is not there.
Okay, well, along those lines, what about the economics? Why isn't there, I mean, the evolutionary elders, they themselves can get into the economics where the young men, whether they're an athlete or whatever, they're a CEO, is they actually start to invest their money, so that, you know, when they get 90, they don't have to worry, they don't have to drive a cab or have a liquor store or something like that. I think that's one point that you all should really work on, investment of that type of money. Very few of them ever had millions of dollars.
That's true. And that's one of the major problems, because as I say in that regard, you can't equate wealth with intelligence. So if you don't learn the value and the meaning of economics while you're young.
Yes.
Because our children come from impoverished communities, and we become, as the old saying goes, from rags to riches overnight.
Yes.
You know, and so that doesn't mean that because you now have money that you can't even count that high. And that just gives you the opportunity to do more foolish things. It doesn't mean that it teaches you how to handle your money. It just means that you have it. And so many of our athletes, as well as other entertainers, you know, have gone bankrupt because they know nothing about economics. And that's a problem that we have in our community across the board. And of course, athletes are hit with it and blindsided as much as anybody else, because they're in the spotlight. Once they're in the spotlight, that's what creates a problem.
Well, one thing I've always said that as far as sports, or if it's not sports, if it's a company, like you're a CEO, is invest in what you are making. In other words, in sports and entertainment, there's no control because you're not on the board of directors of any organization. You got to get involved so that you, for instance, when the people were talking about the Redskins, you know, I said, why don't they have, why don't you, they looked at me like I was crazy. I said, why don't you buy the Redskins? I said, you have that type of capital around, you know, you invest in something like that that you know is positive as far as results is concerned. You want to wind it up there?
You know, I would like to add something to what you just said, which is a very, very interesting point. You reminded me of something that you no doubt remember Buzzy Bavasi, who bought the Dodgers, from Branch Rickey.
Right.
And in one of the years when they were in Vero Beach is where they worked out.
Right.
And the black wives could not shop on the beach. So
of the
players. So when the word got back to Buzzy Bavasi that the wives of his black players couldn't shop, he didn't say much about. He never went public with it. But the following season, he called his black players in and wanted to know if their wives had a problem shopping. And they said no, they had access to the beach and they shopped wherever they wanted to. And he says they damn well better have been because I bought the beach.
Right.
so that's where our people have reached that level.
Right.
Like you said, you know.
Like I mean, why can't you? What I'm saying, as far as the entertainers and the athletes or any business that you have, what you have to do, you have to invest in it to have control. You can't have control without investment.
Yeah, but then that's where the education comes in. It's just like voter education and voter registration. I mean, you may have registration, but if you don't have the education, you may go out here and vote for a Ku Klux Klansman.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up now. I want to thank you, Dr. Whitten, for being here and getting that message to the young people, you know, is make sure that you protect your investment. What this world is about is those that have keep having it. A good example is how the world is today. All the 2%, that have the money, they don't want to pay no taxes, nothing based on that. But they want to utilize the individuals that make the money for them. With that, I'll see you in a second. Hi, welcome back to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. And hey, you thought the first half or something, we got the dynamic council lady, Karen Tolles from the District 7. And I mean, she has been working. She got to go somewhere. So we got to get this right in because she just won another award on November 10th. She's just a busy, busy lady. And well, Karen, welcome to the Ed Brown Show.
Thank you for having me again.
You really are outdoing yourself.
Thank
you. All them bills that you sponsor and everything.
Yes.
Tell us about this award from UCAP.
Yes, this is such an honor and such a surprise. The United Communities Against Poverty gave me their nonprofit, honored me with their nonprofit champion award. And that award is really for all the citizens of District 7. That they honored me because I was able to assist them with getting funding for a green construction program that they wanted to have there, and that was to put women in the trades and put some of our residents back to work. The individuals that are working, they have over 100 individuals that they have given jobs to and trained as apprentices.
Congratulations!
And they live and work in Prince George's County. So yes, I was honored to and I'm happy to be a champion and honored to receive the award. So.
Yes. Now, tell us more about the. You got so many bills going here and there.
Yeah.
Now, is 2 bills now that you're sponsoring that have really you sponsored and passed. Tell us about those.
Yes, the 2 bills that I sponsored and passed was they both have to do with the construction trades industry.
Right.
And one of them was tax increment financing, apprenticeship training programs on tax increment financing, and that's important because we want individuals in Prince George's County to work on the jobs, but guess what? We want them to be trained with the skill as well. We don't want them working on a job and are not developing a skill
right.
for that particular trade. And so it says that if you receive tax increment financing from Prince George's County, you must have an apprentice program, and that is to ensure that we're getting the most highly skilled, trained individuals on these jobs in Prince George's County. And also, too, I mean, we're giving them a trade, so once they leave that job, they can go into another job with that trade
and use it as a reference.
But most importantly, Mr. Brown, this is so huge. This has not been done throughout the state of Maryland. We are setting a precedent. This is historical. The bill recently just passed, and that was to have project labor agreements on construction jobs, on public works construction jobs in Prince George's County. And that was sort of an uphill battle. But you know what? When I stand for something, when I believe in something, get out of my way.
Well, I already know that.
Because they deserve to have this in Prince George's County. We should be setting the tone for other jurisdictions around the state to follow. And this bill was unanimously passed by my colleagues on the county council. I was the proposer, and I had 5 of my colleagues co-sponsor this bill with me.
Beautiful.
And what this bill does is says that if we have a public works project like fire station, a library, a police station, we can enter into a project labor agreement. And this bill sets the tone. It's the vehicle to allow the county executive to say, I want to enter to a project labor agreement on this particular project, on this police station in Prince George's County. And this anything over $1 million. This is not happening around the state of Maryland. I have my colleagues in other jurisdictions coming to me and say, I was watching that bill. I want to see what happens. This passed. And so what this does is says that we're going to hire, we have a goal of 55% of Prince George's County residents get on these jobs. We have 13 of the 15 training centers. I have one training center, Sheep Meadows, in my district that's right? Training, have over 400 members and training our residents in Prince George's County. And so we know they're not the ones getting the jobs. It's individuals from out of state. They're not part of our jurisdiction. This bill says that if you're going to have work done in Prince George's County, public works projects, we as a county going to say we're going to hire our own and train our own. And so,
congratulations.
So thank you. I'm so excited and happy to know that bill has passed. It made me nervous, but knowing that we giving people some jobs in Prince George's County. So.
Very good. Now, that was the first bill. What about the?
Those were two bills.
The 2 bills together. Oh.
Yes, and I also did another. Well, let me just say something a little bit more about this project labor agreement bill. We know President Obama, when he came into office, signed an executive order for project labor agreements. And so what I said was, we need to have something in that magnitude for local jurisdictions. We know that our president right now is trying to get a Jobs Act bill passed that would give us more jobs and opportunities nationwide. Well, now along with that, with this PLA bill, our roads and our bridges that will be built and that will be repaired in Prince George's County can now enter into a project labor agreement. So that goes hand in hand with what our president is trying to do. And so we're following our orders. We have his back in Prince George's County, and so I'm happy to really know that passed. I also did a noise bill. And why is that important? That's important because so many of our residents are being I guess disturbed by the noise from clubs and other establishments, because these people pop these clubs up right in the middle of some neighborhood.
I think one of them
was
plaza near to a retirement home. I think that they
yes, one was at at a senior home. A senior home, right. in Suitland. And so we can't disturb our neighbors. Some of them not even seniors, they're just individuals that live nearby.
Right.
What this bill says is that if I passed a dance hall bill, so that's huge. That was great. That was what we needed in Prince George's County. But along with that, we now have this noise ordinance bill that says that we amended the county code to say that the police can come and shut you down if your noise is getting too loud, if it's disturbing the peace. Disturbing the peace. And also, one of the things I did was I made sure it had language on there for mixed use development. In Prince George's County, each jurisdiction, or I should say each district, experience different type of issues. Yeah. But one thing across the board is that when they put these clubs up and these businesses up along our areas, anywhere they can get them in the communities I represent. So I'm not having this anymore. If you are too loud, in the community, the neighborhoods call the police, you can be cited or shut down for disturbance. And so I'm happy to know that not only are we creating jobs and opportunities for people in Prince County, but we keeping them safe and we keeping it quiet.
Right.
You know?
Hey,
So,
you can't beat that.
you
I
can't beat
know.
that.
What as far as the future is concerned, what do you have in mind? I know you're working on something else.
Well, you know what? I'm working on. I want to say this. Let me just say that I'm working on getting reelected because it's so much work to be done. I mean, tomorrow, you know, we're going to pass this. We're going to have a bill signing in Suitland for the Economic Development Incentive Fund. It's so much work to be done. Things don't happen overnight, and so I am honored and so thrilled that the people of District 7 put their trust in me. And I'm just going to say now, I know it's still early since it's not 2014 yet, but I ask that you stand with me and you work to reelect me because we have so much work to do, and it's going to take a process. You have to build from time, but I know with that economic
a lot
development
of people
fund,
think like you do. What about volunteers? Are you getting
Yes.
volunteers? Well, if a person wants to work in your group there and on these projects,
Sure.
who do they call?
Sure, let me give you my office number. You just call my office number, which is 301-952-3690. We're doing a number of things.
Projects.
I just had a number of projects.
Right.
We just had a huge senior event to honor our seniors because that's who showed us I stand on. They paved the way for me to be a black woman, black young woman in office.
Right.
And again, you know, I want to get reelected in 4 years, but I want to do other things beyond that as well. So they paved the way. So I celebrated them. Had a big senior event. I'm also going to be doing Thanksgiving giveaways. I'm going to do a
that
toy
right?
drive in my community. So these are things they can help me with to come out to help volunteer for that. We're looking to feed around 400 people during Christmas. I'm partnering with a nonprofit to do that.
Very
So.
good.
Yeah, I could use some volunteers.
What about the young people? I know you're young yourself. I know you got a few things set up for them.
Yes, let me say that one of the things I am working with with some young girls in the Suitland community where where I'm working on them with self-esteem and projects
Right.
for community building. I recently spoke at a community event or a program sponsored by Ivy Community Charities where I was letting them know about how important voting is. I let them know that prior to being elected, I worked on President Obama's campaign.
Right.
I was really involved in, but before that I volunteered. And so I got myself involved, eventually got elected to office, but I'm here to pave the way for them and tell them how, because I said if people didn't vote, I wouldn't be here.
Right,
So.
right. But see, people have to realize that you have to get involved in the system.
Absolutely.
That wherever you live in, you got to get involved in it. You can't sit at home. You can't sit at home and complain. Go to those civic meetings. Go to those council meetings. Every time you look up and they're going to make a decision, hey, eventually, whatever it is, it may not affect you now, but you may be in that situation
Absolutely.
later on.
Absolutely. And I need your support because this is always what I say, Mr. Brown, is that, listen, I'm your champion. You hired me, but I can't do this by myself. I need some people in the back with some bullhorns and say, yeah, whatever she said, whatever.
Well,
So
the volunteers are the key because volunteers go along with education. That educates the voter.
Exactly.
A person may say one thing, but you do your research and find out when you get up to testify, you've done your research so you know what's going on. And that's one of the problems people have is that they don't want to put time in. And these things actually affect their life, not just now, in the future.
Absolutely, it does. Oh my God, you're so right.
Right,
You're
and
so
they don't look at things.
No.
Well, that bill doesn't bother me. I don't care what they do, But hey, look.
No, it does. When I set this tone for public safety bills, when I put that public safety bill out, CB 18, the dance hall legislation, that was to send a message to businesses that we want you to operate here, but we want you to make sure that you are keeping the community safe. We can't have homicides linked to your establishment because what this does is it says that we want to look to the outside developers, individuals looking to build and give us the economic development we desire in Prince George's County, that they are serious about keeping the community safe. They want to be safe when their employees come to work. They want, to have a safe environment to work in. And so we send a message, and that's why when they come out and they testify and they come to the community meetings and I have quarterly meetings with my community in District 7 so they can hear I can hear their concerns. They can hear what I'm doing for them, because 3 or 4 years from now, you want that business to say that dance hall legislation worked.
Right.
What the community said worked.
Right.
And we're seeing and improvement in safety. And so everything all comes together, like you said.
Tell us again how individuals, especially a young person, can get involved in the political system.
Yes.
Volunteer is
God.
the key.
Yes.
And I mean, not just volunteer for certain things, just volunteer to learn the system.
Yes, learn the system. And that's true. I have an intern in my office. She's a graduate of Sula High School.
Great.
And I have to say, before she's one of the conditions, but that you have to go to school. So now she's at the community college, and she's super excited. Thank you. And she would not have many of our children don't understand. They haven't been groomed to say after high school is college.
No.
I take for granted that. But once I started getting out on the campaign trail, and I had about 40 students working with me just at various times. And so I try to tell them you have options. So if they want to come and volunteer to sit in the office and learn, if they want to work in an event, if they want to go out with me in parades, I will sign their community service letter and get them that community service. Yes.
That's great. That community service is something that we should emphasize for the young people, so they get to know the system. In order for a system to be positive for you, you have to know something about it.
Other folks do that.
Don't sit at home and complain. Say,
exactly.
they passed this. Where were you? Oh, I had to do this, or I had to do that. This is fraud. And once again, congratulations for your award there, Councilman Tolles, and everything. And keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I tell you, you're doing a terrific job, and we're going to have you back on here.
Thank you.
Okay?
And I commend you.
So you can let the people know what's going on. And what they need to do is get involved. I'm talking about you. See you next time.
All right. That worked.